for me, how it feels to be a mother, I'm still figuring that out. And that's part of the curiosity that's really compelled me to pursue this movement, is as I've been doing my own work in emotional growth and how I'm dealing with my emotions, or most often not dealing with my emotions. I am excited to learn from other mothers about their mothering experience, about what it feels like for them to be mothers, selfishly, and in the hopes that I can learn for myself what it feels like, what it really means for me, what it really feels like to be a mother. Welcome to the How It Feels to Be a Mother podcast, where we dive into the emotional complexities and varied experiences of motherhood. I'm your host, Sarah Broberg. This judgment-free zone is a place where mothers can express their authentic feelings and experiences as whole human beings. In each episode, we'll explore the catalyst question at the heart of this movement. How does it feel to be a mother? Through engaging discussions with mothers from diverse backgrounds from around the world, we'll explore the complexity of emotions along the continuum of motherhood. Join us as we speak with mothers from all walks of life, from those with infants to those with adult children, uncovering the vast emotional continuum of motherhood. Whether you find motherhood to be a blessing or a challenge, or somewhere in between, sometimes all at once, this podcast is here to validate your feelings and to break the stigma, shame, and guilt that can often accompany maternal experiences. Tune in and be a part of a movement that empowers mothers to embrace the emotional depths of what it really feels like to be a mother. Join the conversation. My name is Sarah Broberg. I am a communication, marketing, crisis comms, PR strategist. I've been doing this work for decades. I like to say, we don't have to put numbers on it. Had the privilege to be able to do this work across the Middle East and North Africa for many years. Did some work in Europe, and as well, obviously here now in the United States, advising C-suite executives on how the best way to kind of convey their messages and tell their stories to meet their objectives and to reach their target audiences. So it was Mother's Day morning, 2023. And I just opened my eyes, and my partner of several years was beside me, and he said, "Happy Mother's Day." And then he asked me a question. And this question knocked me on my butt. Like, it left me speechless, and I'm very rarely ever speechless. And it made me really question where I was in my life at that time as it relates to motherhood. So as I contemplated the question over the course of the day, I really started thinking about my own sort of role and where I was at with regards to motherhood, feeling the kind of clock ticking on both sides of motherhood. For me at this point in my life, I have, navigating the kind of complexities of the relationship with my own aging mother. And I also have two teenage ferns who feeling the clock ticking on that regard, that, pretty soon they're going to be up and on their own and out in the world, and the complexities of navigating that. And so the more I started thinking about this catalyst question, as I call it, the more I realized I have no idea how to answer this question. I have no idea. And I also have no idea how the other mothers in my life would answer this question. Not my best friends, not the other mothers I know, not even my own mother. So then I just started getting really curious. And I said, well, why if I just start asking them? And so that's how it feels to be a mother movement really came about. It was from my own curiosity around how I would answer this question of how does it feel to be a mother, and having conversations with other mothers about how it feels for them to be a mother. The other reason that I think this question really resonated with me, how it feels to be a mother, is because I had never heard it asked before. Not how it feels to be a mother? Oftentimes we get questions like, oh, what's it like to be a mother? Or, what's it like having teenage boys? Or what's it like being a new mom? But not how does it feel? And so much of the research that I've done for this project bears that out. A lot of what's out there in the landscape right now is really wonderful, useful, beautiful works as it relates to motherhood, but they mainly take the form of either memoirs or they take the form of kind of how-tos, the logistics of being a mom, not the emotional, the complexity of emotions, the full range of emotions that we experience as mothers. And that's what I hope that how it feels to be a mother movement will do, is to create a community where mothers can show up in their whole selves and explore the complexity of emotions of what it feels like to be a mother. I have never felt as compelled to take action on a project as I have felt with this, the How It Feels to Be a Mother movement, in very short order. Within 2 weeks, probably, I'd had like my first interview and having a conversation with a mother. It happened very quickly. And at the same time, I realized I need a better understanding of the landscape around motherhood, the media, the literature, what's out there. So I also commissioned the white paper at that same time to really get an understanding about where the How It Feels to Be a Mother movement fit in that landscape. Are there things that are already out there that I'm just riding coattails? And I'm pleased to say that the research has shown that there's really nothing out there that's exactly like what we're trying to do with the How It Feels to Be a Mother movement. It's a multifaceted, multimedia initiative to create community for mothers to show up and share their whole emotionally complex experiences in a completely safe and judgment-free zone, whatever that looks like, however they want to share, however they want to show up. And so it happened very quickly because I felt deeply compelled to do this work, that I feel that it's something that I wish that I had had. I wish that I have it now. I'm creating this space because it doesn't exist. For me, as a young mother in particular, living abroad, I didn't have the type of community that I would have liked to have had, to have conversations about all of the emotions, not just all the great rainbows and butterflies, and there's plenty of that, but there's also plenty of emotions that still today are taboo to talk about. That, some of the stuff that's not super great about what it feels like to be a mom, and the shame and the judgment and the fear and the anxiety and the stresses and the anger and the frustration, all of those things, there's a need, I believe, to create a community where we can show up mother to mother and share those emotions as whole human beings. One of the other kind of key compelling factors behind this, creating this movement, is because I am not a person who sort of readily identified as a mother. So if you were to say, give me the top 10 characteristics or qualities about yourself, mother would not be in the top 10. And so as I'm feeling kind of a clock ticking with regard to motherhood with my own mother and my relationship with my teenage sons, is also exploring my own emotions around motherhood and what it means for me to be a mother, and maybe why I don't readily identify as a mother. So I'm along this journey, just like I hope so many other mothers will also be along this journey of exploring those emotional complexities. And the first conversation that I had with the first mother, I can tell you that I felt that I just felt even more compelled to continue to do this work. It was a safe space where this mother could share some of the deepest thoughts about her story of becoming a mother that maybe she had not ever shared with anyone. She told me, in some ways, I feel like I was sold a bill of goods about motherhood. And I felt that. I felt that for not just myself in some respects, but for so many other mothers out there. That one of the main onuses for this project, this movement, is to create community for mothers who feel excluded from the cultural and societal narrative that tells us how we should feel about being a mother. That it's a privilege, that it's a blessing, that it's the greatest thing to have happen. Sure, that may very well be the case. And it is also true that it's frustrating and all of the other emotions that go into that. And again, there's still a lot of shame and judgment attached to mothers expressing that full range of emotions, whatever they may be. And so I want to create this space. I want to create this community where we can all come together, share our stories, share our voices so that others may be empowered, so that we can mitigate the shame and the judgment and the stigma around being a whole human being as a mother. It is one of the most emotionally complex experiences we will ever go through. We deserve the support. We deserve the community. We deserve the opportunity to share our voices so that other mothers know that they're not alone. We are all doing this together. And that's what the How It Feels to Be a Mother movement really is about. It's creating community where we can come together as whole humans and share the emotional complexities of what it feels like to be a mother. Like what you're hearing? We'd love your feedback. Please leave a review. The How It Feels to Be a Mother movement is a multifaceted initiative, multiple fronts across multimedia channels. So there'll be a landing page, a website, a lot of podcasts, a lot of Facebook groups, obviously all the socials will be present. Really, the whole initiative is, again, to create community, to make that community as accessible as possible for people everywhere, for mothers everywhere. We'll be available virtually online. I'll be available in-person opportunities and events, hopefully, we'll be rolling out. And it's really an initiative to just bring mothers together to share their stories about the emotional complexities of what it feels like to be a mother. It's about creating the connection through the conversation. Like someone just telling their story, I feel like it wouldn't create the same, we wouldn't have that same conversation. We wouldn't have that same connection. We wouldn't have the same content without that conversation. So yeah, I've had dozens of conversations with mothers from across the world, which is fascinating in of itself, just the social and the cultural aspects in various countries and how that influences mothering and motherhood. And so, those are going to all be, provided as content on the podcast, on the website, on the social media. And we're always looking for more conversations. If mothers out there would love to have a conversation about what it feels like for them to be a mother, please, we're all for just continuing the conversation, creating this community, sharing our stories, amplifying our voices in ways that will support mothers as whole humans. For me, how it feels to be a mother, I'm still figuring that out. And that's part of the curiosity that's really compelled me to pursue this movement, is as I've been doing my own work in emotional growth and how I'm dealing with my emotions, or most often not dealing with my emotions. I am excited to learn from other mothers about their mothering experience, about what it feels like for them to be mothers, selfishly, and in the hopes that I can learn for myself what it feels like what it really means for me, what it really feels like to be a mother. I'm still understanding how to unpack my own emotions. I can tell you it's really visceral for me right now in how it feels to be a mother. The way that I characterize it is that for me, how it feels to be a mother is a punch to the gut, a grip on your heart, a frog in your throat, and a hum in your head. Learn more about how it feels to be a mother by visiting howitfeelstobeamother.com and following us on our socials. Please join the conversation.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this podcast, including those of the host and guests, are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of any entity they represent. Appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The content presented is solely for general informational, educational, and entertainment purposes. The use of information provided on this podcast or materials linked from the podcast or website is at the user's own risk. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical or mental health condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.